Welcome back, Dreamedia family. It is Chase here up in Colorado, back for another episode. I've got something I'm super excited to bring to you guys today. URC went ahead and sent us out one of their brand new tabletop touchscreens, the TDC-8300. It's an 8-inch SKU that they've improved on the processing power and some other components over some of the previous generation of touchscreens. So we are going to dive into an unboxing of this. I will then jump off camera, program this into the URC system, and then we're going to do a little comparison to some of the other touchscreens that we've showed off as our favorites and bestsellers on the channel. Over on my left, I have Zach's favorite, the portable tabletop touchscreen, the 9100. This guy boasts a 9-inch display, full mic control, full AV control in the house. The good thing about these touchscreen guys, they're a lot easier to navigate than some of the multi-room remotes if you're thinking whole home control as opposed to simple AV control in a room where that remote kind of lives. Over on my right, we've got my favorite touchpad still. We'll see how the 8300 does. This is the 5100. It's got a smaller 5-inch touchscreen display, just as tactile, just as responsive. But what I love about this remote is it feels like a PlayStation Portable or like an old Nintendo console, where I've got a big screen in the middle, and then I've got all these tactile buttons and a physical microphone button there for voice commands. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into this unboxing. All right, let's dive into this unboxing. So as you can see, the components that are coming here are essentially very similar to the 9100. Again, it's just an improved design, has a better Wi-Fi antenna, some little things on the back end that you don't need to really know. I'd say as a consumer, your biggest point is whether you like the size of a 9-inch screen or an 8-inch screen. I have a feeling I'm going to enjoy this model a little more, but if big screens is your preference, the 9100 is probably still going to be king if you're looking for a touchscreen. But we're going to unbox the touchscreen itself, the charging dock, charging cables, and removable, replaceable, rechargeable battery, guys. All right. So let's go ahead. Our warranty paperwork from URC. We'll just go ahead and get everything out of the box and then kind of unbox these smaller boxes. Okay. We'll do that last because that is the touchscreen. Let's go ahead and get our, oh, that's the dock. So let's go ahead and just try and get some of this cardboard out of the way first. That's our rechargeable battery. This is just going to be our charging cord over here. Okay. So what I am going to do is we'll get these out of the bags. I'm going to clean up these boxes real quick, and then we'll keep moving along. Okay, so that's pretty cool. It's a very slim charging station. It's anyway, we'll get into that. We'll go ahead and compare every part. Getting ahead of myself. So excited to try this guy out. It seems way lighter for one introduction in screen, like significantly lighter. Ooh, this thing is clean looking, guys. All right, a couple more bags to get out of the way here, and we'll show you how to set this up. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and get this set up like you would if you received one of these touch screens. So first things first, the easiest part, let's go ahead and just get these bread ties off our charging cable, get the wall wart on, get that plugged into our base station. Yeah, and the 5100 doesn't typically stand up like this. I wanted it a little more presentable, but typically it lays flat, like said, in on its docking station. That's just makes the screen completely unviewable on camera. So all right, so just your standard USB-C cord here. So what's cool about these models, and I don't think we've ever broken this down, I can show this on both models, but as you can see right here, I have a USB-C charger, as well as this bigger 9100. You can see on the back, I have a USB-C cable. So I can technically charge it like this and ditch the docking station. I really like the docking station then. We have so many phone cords, you can leave it really nice, and then you just got to drop it on at the end of the day when you're done. But you can charge both models from the charging station or directly on the back of the unit itself. The first little improvement I see that's it's really not a big deal. It's a bit of a time saver. All the other touchscreen models that I know of so far, you need a Phillips screwdriver to get the replaceable battery out. And this 8300, it just has a little push button lock. Just one step simpler. Probably cuts down on how thick the touchpad needs to be. This is stunningly different weight and footprint wise than the 9100. I'm actually like blown back by that. I thought it was pretty much going to be a mock-up with just some minor improvements. They've really gone in and redone the whole design of this. But before we dive in any further, I wanted to grab some of the handheld remotes for the bedrooms, because now I feel like not only control options is the choice with URC, but between some of these different controller lineups, the aesthetics and design would be a great way to pair a room now. As you can see, the 1120, the new single room reimagined simple remote with voice control, has this black, very light ergonomic design with a gold trim plate. And as you can see, they've carried that over to this 8300 touchpad. And these would just pair great in a room together. Whereas if you are a 9100, this is specifically a 1480, but you may stylistically, to keep the same look across the home, want a 1080 or a 1480 to pair with a touchscreen like this. Whereas with these nice gold trims, I'd want to keep the gold trim together. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get our USB-C plugged into the back of our charging station here. And then I'm going to show you guys, there's a little push button right there. We're going to go ahead and push that. Open up the back cartridge here, and then look how nice our battery is going to fit. It's got directional areas for you, that kind of little pressure fitting there. And then you've got a 3-pin adapter, guys, which just the best way to plug these in if you're not used to it. Now this may be extremely hard to see on the camera, but inside that white battery lanyard, you see how the pins are closer to the top? So your best bet is just to look, because the Phoenix adapter itself is going to have pins closer to one side as well. You can, if you force one of these in the wrong way, go ahead and break it. So once that's lined up, just push evenly from both sides, so we're not having to worry about compromising a pin on a brand new remote just trying to get a battery into it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and click that back, and now we're good to go. You see it's booting up. So we're going to get this onto the charging station, because I guarantee you it doesn't have a full charge. Most notably, at first look, between the 9100 and the 8300, my favorite right off the back notice is that we now have a physical microphone button. That was one of my biggest issues with the 9100, and one of the reasons why I liked the 5100 so well is that physical tactile mic button that I don't need to look for if I'm using this as the primary remote in a room. So as you can see, we've booted up in a stock room here. This has none of the project information locally here yet, but it says family room, and we've got our entertainment, music, lighting, HVAC control or heating control, and security right there. as well as our volume control, main button, room power, and again, my favorite thing on this remote already is this tactile mic button. And I can tell as well that they switched the microphone location to the top of the touchscreen from the side. So I'm hoping that improves the response of the microphone here. But yeah, I just I wish I could have a little scale or something to physically show the difference. So it's a 1-inch difference in touchscreen display, guys. But look how much smaller, sleeker, and honestly, it's a lot lighter. And that's probably my second biggest notice right off the back is if you're walking around holding this thing is pretty chunky. It's got some meat to it, where you're going to be able to hold this longer without it feeling uncomfortable. And as you can see, just from the way I'm grabbing it from the back, it sits there with these little kickstands just right on my hand, very lightly, not having to think about it. Whereas the 9100, you're kind of grabbing, there's not as good of a place for your hand per se. And I end up walking around with it like this, which as you can see, got a pretty, it's if you've got small hands, this is a big controller to be wielding handheld. This just seems a lot, just much more ergonomic design. And as you can see, it's pretty hard to mess up docking this. We've got this strip up front for the bottoms and then the back. And I love that URC has rubber feet on anything. So if it's not on the charging dock and I set it on the table, it's not going to slide easy. It's not going to scratch my finish on the wood countertop here. So I'm going to jump off screen, get this guy onto our URC system, and then we're going to do some comparisons with these two touchscreens specifically, but we may show off the 5100 as well. It is kind of a different class of controller than the standalone touchscreens, but we'll go ahead and mess around with the IP deep dive integration with voice linking and see which controller is faring more responsively, which would be my pick. And then eventually we'll have Zach after he gets to play with these for a bit, because I'm going to kind of set both of them up side by side there until he picks a location for this 8300 and have him play around with it in a week. And then maybe we'll come back and do a, long-term, had the product, been using it for a while. What are my thoughts? Let's get to it. All right, so we don't quite have the touchscreen in the software yet, but I figured if you're a owner of one of the URC touchscreens, I'm going to kind of show you how to configure some of your settings today. Who knows, maybe your Wi-Fi network changed, maybe you moved to a room, it's not grabbing an access point. Maybe you want to change the wake sensitivity or vibration, any of the settings internally. So here I'm in, just the stock family room programming that boots up. This has nothing to do with the house yet. You guys will see that later. So as you can see, I slid down from the top there. I've got a couple options. I can check out my weather. So that's the audio video call interface. We're just going to go through some of these options real quick because you guys may see these. This allows you to move the bar of options around, because typically it's going to start here in the middle, but maybe if you like looking at the picture more, maybe you put it down by the bottom so that all your controls are closer together. But that's how that works. And then we're just going to go to the general setting menu now. So here's where we can access our sleep timeout, our pickup sensor, how sensitive it is, the current power, if our voice assistant's configured, proximity sensor, right? So the difference at pickup sensor is how sensitive to wake it up once I grab it, right? Proximity sensor is me walking by the touchscreen in a room and it'll light up. Sound, how loud our button settings are, our intercom, and our door station alerts, right? So you can play around with that. How bright it is. You can factory default the remote. Please don't do that unless you're a technician. The system settings as well as the network. So we're going to go ahead and get this on to the network here. So we're going to go to wireless search. And as you can see, every access point in the home pulls up here. So what you're going to want to do is have the touch screen in that room, at least initially. It'll jump, but for setup, you're going to go ahead and pick the fastest network bands, which is going to be the closest to you. and then you're going to go ahead and do your password, and that's how you connect it to the internet. Now, after this, the rest of what happens is going to be in the software programming side. So I'm going to go take care of that real quick, get this on the network, and then we'll jump right back. All right, so we have configured our touchscreen's internal settings to our preferences. We got it on the network, and as you can see now, the file for the home is being loaded. And as soon as this finishes receiving its programming, it will go ahead and reboot, drop us into the formal room where we currently are, and then we can start playing with the controls. All right, so that took about 5.5, 6 minutes. It'll never take that long if an update is pushed to your system. Since this was a brand new out-of-box controller, and since these had shipped, we had updated the OS in this house, we had to update the operating system of this controller and then push our programming. But as you can see, we're done. Our setup is done. We're back to the stock bar across the middle, which again, we can always move up or down. You can see we have access to all of our entertainment, scene control, lighting, shades, as well as some movie commands and camera integration. That'll be the same across both touchscreens. So let me now get them next to each other. You can see just how much bigger the 9100 actually, it sounds like, oh, it's a 1-inch screen upgrade. It's not going to be that big of a difference. The 91 is massive compared to the 8300, but I think the 8300 is a much more sleek design. So we'll get this into the room here. Let's go ahead and boot our Xfinity. All right, you guys saw how quick that was. So now, as you can see, this touchscreen natively grabbed what's going on, but I like putting these now play buttons in case you pick up a controller or maybe you hit the main button, took yourself back to the home screen. You can always hit now playing to become concurrent with the room. So here's that big voice integration difference I was talking about. I no longer have to look at my touchscreen to touch the microphone, whereas there's no way to feel this, so you do have to look down at the touchscreen to go ahead and give a voice command. So this is super easy, guys. We have Xfinity enabled. You can see we've got a lot of controls here because it's laid out as a touchscreen and not for the phone app or the remote. I can go ahead and show you what the remote integration looks like real quick here on our 1480 to kind of show the difference between the remote interface for the same driver and the touchscreen one. So see, since I've got all these buttons here, I don't quite need the number pad and all that. I've got my physical button. That's probably hard to see. That's just a voice toggle. This one has it as well, where you can disable voice. But all the buttons that you would need from your, in this case, Xfinity remote are published here. Let's go ahead and see how this voice command is from a user standpoint here. All right, so TV is kind of hard to see in the background, but we're gonna be throwing out some voice commands. So I'm just looking that you can see how quick the TV responds. So we're gonna throw out a voice command here on our 9100 real quick, which is the touchscreen. NBC. Okay. And now URC has talked to our cable box, found the channel, processed the voice command, and got us over there. Let's go ahead and try that on our brand new 8300. CBS. Okay, so we're talking millisecond difference here. The system seems to be responding to the voice press a little quicker on the 8300 than it does on the 9100, which is kind of doubled down by the fact that I can feel that the button is depressed here. So maybe that's a little human input response there. But as you can see, let's bring it in close here. Much bigger display on the 9100, much lighter design on the 8300. Physical voice button. I really like that, guys. And then again, I've just got some of the remotes in the background here so you guys can see. So we'll go ahead and throw a voice command from the remote since I did the touch screens. NBC. And again, I think these physical buttons just respond a little bit quicker than the touch screens without a dedicated mic button. So I wonder if that's why they had moved. But I'll tell you what, my first impressions, I'm in love. This is now officially my favorite dedicated touchscreen in the URC lineup for sure. I don't even really need to mess around with it. I love that tactile voice button, and I just love how light, maneuverable, and easy this sits in my hand. And I could definitely hold this way longer than some of the bigger touchscreen models without hand fatigue. And honestly, it just fits in the hand better. It's lighter. So if your main goal is big screens, then again, like I said, 9100 is still going to be king for you. But if you're just looking for a nice, light, easy to use touchscreen, 8300 is the way to go. I haven't pointed this out in any video yet, but as you guys know, I program for most major control platforms. So I'm pretty well versed with the touchscreens in every lineup. And something I'll say about the competitors docking touchscreens is they stand up typically at a higher angle when docked. But as soon as you remove it, it's like laying an iPad flat on the ground. Whereas I love this design from URC where even off the charging station, the touchpad is fully capable of supporting itself and keeps itself angled up at a usable angle for the user. URC has taken a lot of care, and I absolutely love that. Notably, some of the Control 4 touch screens, they're a little more rounded, but as soon as you pull them off the dock, they lay flat. There's no rubber grips on the bottom. It's easier to damage them. You know, I'm smacking this thing's barely moving. It's got good grips. That goes for every one of these models. And yeah, very excited to have been able to show off the 8300 today. Very impressed with my initial use of the controller, and can't wait to come back and see how Zach likes the different touchscreens and if the 9100 still stays king for him. All right, guys, that's going to be a wrap. Thanks for joining me for our unboxing and first initial opinions and testing of the brand new TDC-8300 offered from our friends at URC, showcased next to some of the other products we've unboxed and have been using in Zach's home over the course of the system's life. So over here again is the 5100, kind of a class of its own. My favorite to this day. I don't know if anyone will beat it. Classic portable game vibes. I've got a nice 5-inch touchscreen, just as responsive as these other models, but I've got those nice physical touch buttons that I get on some of these remotes. Here is our 1120 single room controller, which pairs brilliantly, I might add, to the 8300 with the matching ergonomic shape, as well as gold trim plate. And then over here we've got the king, the 1480 multi-room controller, which is very similar aesthetically to the 1080 single room touchscreen voice enabled controller. And then we've got our 9100 monster touchscreen here on the right. So just showcasing it next to some of the lineup. So if you guys have some of these units at home, you can compare. But very excited to come back and do a long-term review video on the 8300. Thank you, URC, for sending this out. I am going to start recommending these for all of my touchscreen location. It's just so light, guys. Light, physical voice control button. That is a huge upgrade, in my opinion, end user experience wise, over a flat panel touchscreen from any provider. Because again, if you've got a flat panel touchscreen, you are always looking down at the interface to find buttons. Whereas with our voice deep dive, guys, for most of our integrations, you're just going to go ahead and be able to put your finger, you'll feel that button, press it, throw out your command, and the home will work for you. So again, thank you guys for joining me. See you guys next time.